Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Nikita Antoine and today I'll be doing a message for the sign of Cancer. As always, all of my readings are timeless, so when the message finds you and resonates, then it's yours at the time in which you find it. Cancer, I have done your spread today with the Ethereal Visions and this Dreamscape Oracle. So you'll be seeing a blend of both of those in your spread today. It's a little dark in here. It's because I'm usually doing the readings a little later than this, and so it's kind of dark outside. All right, so let's see. At the bottom of the deck, okay, we've got the Seven of Cups. So that's the underlining energy to this. The underlining energy is, well, not seeing something for what it is. Hang on a second. Because I'm noticing this skull here, and I'm thinking of Hamlet and that line where he says, is that a Hamlet that says that? I can't quite remember. High school was a long time ago. But I know that he says to be or not to be or not to be. So this is talking about, we were speaking of not seeing something for what it is. Perhaps this is, the underlining energy here is not seeing you for what you are. Okay. And then at the split, we have the Hermit. Okay. So going in alignment, going in alignment with what we were speaking about, the Seven of Cups, the Hermit is an internal seeking. So an internal seeking about who you are. It's coming up as like what you're meant to be doing. Like what you come into existence to do. Like, okay, so then like a purpose, if you will, like a life's purpose. All right. And then, oh, okay, hang on. So here I'm noticing in the Hermit card that that skull is down here. And then in the Seven of Cups, the skull is in the hand. So there's something about putting the skull down and then kind of like going on your own. Going on your own. So putting the skull down. Putting down the question of what you're meant to be doing so that you can kind of forge a track for yourself. Because it's kind of like if you're at, I don't know how to explain that. When you're asking what you're meant to be doing and you're coming up with a myriad of choices, and like all of these choices, a myriad of options of what you're meant to be doing. I don't know, it's just kind of like they're not, it's like you don't want to choose any of them. They're not really great choices. Something along those lines. So you're setting them out down, setting all of those options down, and you're searching for something that's more, I want to say personal with the Hermit energy. More personal to you. Okay, so let's get the overall energy for the reading. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. This is an interesting dynamic here with the clothing and the hoods. So the overall energy here is, well, a desire for change. And in the underlining ear hair area here, there's that mask. And then in the bridging energy, you can kind of see the mask is being taken off. But then the hood is being put up to obscure. It's almost like you took it off. You took off the skull energy and then you like replaced it with something else. It's a coming off and then going back on type of thing. All right, so let's leave that up there for now. I can see a little bit how this is playing into your reading. It's giving a little bit of context to it, because in the reading scenario, it's like you're sitting here with the rabbit and fox that's coming up in the first card of your reading. You're sitting here and it's like it has a Four of Cups type of energy to it. So it's like sitting in contemplation, not even necessarily contemplation. This is coming up as you've set all the options. This is after this energy, you set everything down. You've decided, no, I don't really want any of those options. And now, since you've chosen to not take any of those options, you're sitting in a space of, I don't know if it's called boredom, but it's a space of stillness where nothing yet has come to entice you again. So you're just kind of there, sitting. And I want to say, especially with all of the color that is coordinating itself here, while you're sitting in that space, that's where you're going. It's basically you're going into this hermit space. And you're starting this internal journey, a desire, because you're sitting in that space. It's like your next desire is, well, it's the change. It's that change element that you're looking for to kind of, it's like you don't necessarily, you're not wanting to stay in the hermit energy. You're wanting to kind of like get up and get on with it is what's coming through. Getting up and getting on with it. You're ready to do what you're wanting to, well, you're ready to do and set out on your, I guess I'll call it like the next adventure, but you're not really knowing what that is yet. And although you've gotten some offers as to where you do want to go next, it's like none of them are really, it's like it's not quite right. There's something about them that has this masking energy. So it could be like all of the offers maybe seem too good to be true, especially with the fox energy. The fox can sometimes come out as being sly and not forthcoming with all of the information that's necessary to make the decision to accept this offer. So you're like, because all the information isn't there, I'm not going to make a move until I know exactly what needs to happen here. And that's the energy that's pushing you into the hermit. I was going to say the hermit zone. Yeah, that's the energy that's pushing you into the hermit. But while you're there, your desire for change is so... I want to say it feels kind of like the desire for change is intense, but it's not displaying itself as... It's very internal is what it's coming up as. It's a internal experience that you're having. It's like your spirit wants to move, but there's just no movement around you. So, you know, so while you're sitting in that space, you know, and I'm noticing that she's actually sitting on top of a moon. So while you're sitting in that space of uncertainty, there's an energy outside of you that has been, I want to say it has been, I guess they've been watching your progress. Something about the figure in the whale that is looking like a it's like it's like they've just been watching your progress. They could be invested in some type of way. I want to steer away from this being actually a physical. This is not a physical person. Especially because we have the well here. The well talks about Akashic records. So this is, because I'm noticing the crowns here, this is like your higher self. It's like your higher self is in watching your progress, and unbeknownst to you, I feel as though they've been sending you, because the well talks about like sending smoke signals. They've been sending you it's not that. What they've been doing is they've been sending in, like, okay, you see all these, you see how it's very hazy and like a fog. So it's coming up as your higher self has been sending in smoke, some type of fog in a sense that has, well, it's like that has surrounded all of these options. It's kind of like if they hadn't have done that, you might have picked one of these, but because your higher self knows you so well, they know that if they were to kind of shroud or put something over top of these options, you would have steered, you would, and you did, you steered away from these options. It's kind of like it's actually coming up as like protective in a sense, because there's something else that lies within this well, that is meant for you versus all of these other ones, all of these other options. So they've come in as it's like they're trying to prevent you from even looking in this direction, because when you do look into this direction, it causes like it causes like a state of confusion, not knowing which one to pick, not just, it's not a really great energy to be in when you are questioning what, I guess, what you're meant to be doing. When you're questioning like to be or not to be type of thing. So they've basically shrouded this image over the bottom, which points me back to like that fox energy. They've like covered it up. And so now that's pushed you into sitting by yourself in contemplation. And this energy, actually, that hermit energy, is the perfect place for you to be when you receive what they're trying to bring to you. There's some type of, perhaps, well, of course, perhaps it has something to do with like the Akashic Library. The Akashic Library is, well, it's like a library that contains everything that was, will be, and is, going to be. So that would give you some clues or some context as to where you're headed, where, you've got that desire to get moving, but you don't know where to go. And whatever information they're bringing you is going to provide you with the thing, I'll provide you with, I guess, like the answer or a clue, right, to the answer. So then we're going into the Page of Pentacles. And this is like you have been in this state of hermitude, and it has provided you something has come out of it. The whatever was being sent in this connection here, it's like it's in your hands. Well, the answer being in your hands, but I just talked about it as like it's a clue. So it's as if when you get this answer, it's not complete. There's some digging that needs to happen, kind of like when you get a download and you receive the message, but it's not until you start to unfold it that it fully reveals itself. So that's what this is talking about here. So it's like, okay, you wanted to get moving and get going. You're sitting in this space. Now you've received the answer, but now you're still sitting in this space and you don't know how to open up what you've received. It's making me think of like, this is so old school. It's making me think of like zip files and having to like open up a zip file. I don't know. You'll know what that is if you're in the know. Now, there's something here while you're sitting in this contemplation. There's something here about okay, so it has something to do with this Ace of Wands here. And I'm having to like hold the cards in a specific way so that it doesn't, yeah. All right. So this is like the same, basically this is the same like setup. So you see what I mean? It's like the same. The Ace of Wands is appearing here. It's basically it's like duplicating. It's like reiterating the message here. And the Ace of Wands is is presenting again as like, I guess, like your higher self, right? So they are giving you the spark to initiate. There's something about, it's like an initiation, or it's initiating the opening of this package. And it has something to do with fire. See all these little flames? These little flames. It has something to do with utilizing the energy of fire. It's kind of making me think about a pine cone and how, yes, a pine cone can fall from the trees, right? But it doesn't necessarily, well, I don't know if this is actually true for all pine cones. But I do know that there are some pine cones that need fire in order to open up their like seed pods, essentially. So that's what's coming through in this message here. It's like the element of fire is needed to open up this pine cone. It's interesting because the pine cone is symbolic for like the pineal gland. So opening up your third eye, which in a sense would also your ability to be able to see would increase. You would be able to see that these things are not it. It's like, because perhaps, well, the pine cone, the pineal gland had like a mask over it. You were unable to see that these were not great options. So then your higher self came in and was like, well, let's actually just shroud all of that, because we're trying to open up the pineal gland so that this doesn't happen, so that they can actually see. And it has something to do with fire. And it also has something to do with scent, too. And smoke. Scent, smell. She's got these incense here. Well, actually, we can call it incense. I think incense is a general term. It's actually making me think of like resins. Resin. Because, I'm seeing like I don't know what they're called. It's like those things that they swing back and forth in the churches. Yeah, it's like resin. Oh my God, that makes total sense, because resin and incense need fire in order to send off that smoke, right? So that, I'm not saying that that's not necessarily, that's just like the crack in the door, basically. It's like, okay, so you want to open this up, well, go ahead and light the incense and get the smoke, not fumes, but the smoke wafting, and that will help to open the door to what this is that you received from the well. This nugget of information. That's going to help open the door. Okay, Cancer. I'm going to go ahead and pull some more cards for you. If you are interested in the extended, you can check out the link pinned in the comments, and I'll see you there.